It is so easy to kill it as an agent. All you have to be is reliable.
Our guest is Trudy Padilla. Hi, Trudy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Early on, I'll tell you, I said yes to everything, right? So I just remember stepping into real estate and thinking, okay, you've got to step out of the world that you were in. Find mortgage lenders that that you trust, and let them do their thing. And you go and get business. At least in the first 2 years, I would try everything, because I don't think that you know what lane you're good at necessarily until you try it. I mean, some people may know, some people may have come from a different sales experience and know, I just kill it on the phone. So, I'm going to make outbound calls and I'm just going to kill it. I just didn't know. And so if you don't know what your lane is, then you probably need to try a bunch of different ones to figure out, what suits. But yeah, at some point, then stick to your lane, figure it out and then create business strategies around that. Agents do their business goals a little bit differently, and depending on, what niche they go in, a lot of times what agents will do, and I think that this is actually good, is, decide, well, I want to work with this many sellers and this many buyers, right? And then they create strategies around attracting buyers and sellers and how they're going to do that. Like, I a little bit different in that, I work with a lot of investors. So I have strategies around investors and I have strategies around just general, buyers and sellers. And so I track my numbers. I know my numbers. That's another important tip. Know your numbers, right? When you're sitting in front of a seller or a buyer, you should be able to tell them, this is what, my conversion rate is, how many, and it's not about the number of units that you do, it's about how you bring value to the client, right? Because if I do 100 units, but my list to sale ratio is 90%, and is that value, right? Depend per seller, right? Maybe not. Mine is 97%. So wouldn't that be more important than to the seller than, that I sold 100 units or, last year, right? Yeah. So I think, being able to express this and how you bring value. So for me, I really do look at, okay, this is where I performed the best, right? So I can tell you exactly how many came from my sphere of influence, how many came from past clients, how many came from realtor referrals, how many came from open houses. So, tracking your numbers helps you write your business plan every year, right? So that way, you also know where to spend your marketing dollars. So now sometimes it's a little bit harder to track things like magazine ads or, things where, unless you're asking every single time you get on the phone, right. Like, but social media, it's a little bit easier to track that, where they've come from. But knowing your numbers really can tell you where to spend your time and your money. It is so easy to kill it as an agent. All you have to be is reliable. And that is that, and that is it. Buyers, sellers, they don't need, what they really want is somebody answering the phone, somebody returning their call, somebody who does what they say they're going to do, right? Yeah. If you do that, you are going to build that sphere of influence so quickly that you are going to be a smashing success. So for me, it was really natural because I came from the banking world, right? Yeah. Where we always had to have a plan. And so, I really learned early on how to have a plan, how to manage a budget, because I was doing so. That was part of my job, right? I was held accountable to that. So moving into this world, it was a little unnatural for me to look around and see that all of my peers who are business owners, right? We're all small business owners, didn't have a plan, truly. sometimes you would ask agents, well, how much are you going to do this year? And they were like, well, I'm hoping I'll do blah, 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 and you're thinking, you're hoping, don't you know? Like, what is that? And so, I started out, I will say my first couple of years, my business plan, I had a plan. It was kind of not a well thought out plan or as it turned, well, let me rephrase that. I put a lot of thought in it. It just wasn't necessarily a plan that was measurable, that I could really easily execute. Because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I probably didn't have exceptional mentors that I was relying on, at the time, and so. So I changed all of that after about, I think, 2 or 3 years. I said, okay, no, it's something. I'm right. I'm consistently doing what I've always been doing in the past. I'm not growing. So how do I, how do I get to the next level? And so, so having, getting a mentor to kind of look over my business plan was really huge, and saying, you got to tweak this. How are you planning on doing this? So having measurable goals and having, I'm a big person of, and actually, if you look here, I literally, that's my business plan on my wall right there. Like, right up there. And so I can revisit it, regularly, like, okay, so I know what that looks like, what I need to do daily, what I need to do weekly, what I need to do monthly, and so on and so forth. And so when I'm not hitting those goals or those marks, then I know that the goal is in jeopardy. And even more important now that I'm moving in, this team where I have people with that are relying on me to meet their goals, and could get paid. So, knowing how I'm going to execute is really important. So, yeah, I think that that's a huge thing for all agents, but especially new agents. The goal in the beginning might just be, I want to close 5 deals. That was my first goal. Was ridiculous. I think I'm not even going to say what it was, but it was. I remember my broker at the time going, really? I was like, yes, I'm going to go do it. And after the first 6 months, I was like, see?